This is our adventure into the Wittenoom and Hammersley Range area in the Pilbara. Once we've arrived in the area, our first priority is to look for a campsite. We've chosen to look in Yampire Gorge.
Alright, around the next bend we do go through the mine, but it's not like Whitney. But then you probably don't have to worry about it if you just smoke.
Yeah, well, once you've got tar in your lungs, there's nothing else is going to
No. Alright, let's go and find a spot.
Revenge.
And if we don't find a spot, this might be it.
Oh, yeah? Hey! Oh, no. Little fucker walking across my foot.
We were pretty lucky this trip. There was water everywhere and all the creeks were flowing. Finding our first campsite wasn't hard. The drive in was pretty tough. And this was to be our campsite for the next 4 days. How great is this?
No logic.
I think there is.
Morning, cockhead. At least another 30 seconds on the cooker.
Got another creek crossing here, it's going through now. Roger, roger.
How's this for a monster spider? An orb-web spider of the Pilbara. We're at Wittenoom Airport. This old strip is now abandoned. We're here in this particular place for 2 reasons. 1, I used to work here, and 2, we're going to hunt for an old cemetery.
When I worked for the government, used to work there, that was where the NDB used to be.
There's a very harsh beauty to the Pilbara, and the real sad news is that Wittenoom is one of the most horrific industrial incidents in the whole world. Research back in Perth located the position of the old cemetery on the airport. Now it's just a matter of trying to find it on the ground for real.
We eventually found the cemetery at the airport. Really strange because I used to work about 100 metres over there and didn't even know this existed. There's only about 9 burials here and I think the last one was 1945. There is a more modern cemetery in town with a lot more people buried in that one.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's done.
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 Yeah.
It's done. Just pack off. Just pack off, like. Yeah, see, now you ruined it for Billy.
This is the drive in to the actual Wittenoom Gorge, which leads to the mine and to the old mining settlement. And here we're coming across one of the old water crossings. The concrete road on the right is the crossing itself, but it's been so washed away you can't access it anymore.
Shows you the power of the water on the left hand side. It's a piece of concrete from the old causeway.
Deep down in the gorge is the old Wittenoom Mine. It lies just above this beautiful waterhole. If you look carefully, you can see the asbestos tailings that have been used to form a roadway to the various mine entrances. Immediately behind the cars at the base of that hill is where the original powerhouse for the whole mining operation used to be. This is a view of what the old powerhouse looked like from the outside, and here is the control panel that delivered all the power to town, and these are the massive generators that made that power.
Gonna be a bit steep going up here. Roger, roger.
At this point I might refer to this very old drawing I found at the Wittenoom Mine, and I'll show you the various locations we've been at. The arrow's pointing at the other mine we were just at, near where the large pool was. This is the location of the old powerhouse we have just passed, and this is where the old mining settlement used to be.
This is where the avalanche is.
After a day cruising around Wittenoom, the old airport, and in the gorge looking at the mines, it's time to head back to our camping spot.
We're back at our Yampire Gorge base camp. We've been here for the second night tonight, and tomorrow we're heading off to Karijini National Park, and we're going to check out some of the gorges there and then go up to DME Hill. Today we went to the Wittenoom Airport, where I actually went back to the non-directional beacon where I used to work, and we found the old cemetery that's in the middle of the airfield there. Driven past it a few times in my working career and never knew it was there. And it's only about 150 odd metres away from the track that goes to the NDB. Had a look around where the terminal and the old house used to be at the airport, and then we drove out into the gorge and had a bit of a fosker around there. Not much water in any of the pools, but there was one deep crossing, which you would have seen previously in some of the other videos. Then we went into the old cemetery and had a cup of coffee, and then came back here. We're on day 8 of our trip away, and it's Friday. We've been camping at Yampire Gorge for the last 2 days. You can see the sign behind us that it's probably not a good idea to be in here. There's asbestos everywhere. Even in the creek we could find raw asbestos that's been washed out of the hillside. This used to be the main road into Dale's Gorge. It was the only road into Hammersley Range National Park back in the 80s when I first came up here. Certainly changed now. You can't drive a two-wheel drive vehicle in anymore. It's all four-wheel drive all the way.
This is part of Mungina Gorge going down the Great Northern Highway. Asbestos is in Karijini as well. Look how small this sign is.
This sign means that when you step in water you should fall backwards, and if you dive in first you should aim for the rocks.
Hey Jay, can you go to that rock there and take a photo?
This is an old part of the walkway down to Fortescue Falls. There is a new section coming up which is a lot easier to use. We're heading off now to what used to be known as Secret Pool, but is now referred to as Fern Pool. We're not filming these girls, we're filming the little signs that are on the rocks there that say don't climb. 2 days after we were here, someone was on these rocks and a section fell down and they were killed. Those symbols say don't climb. We avoid camping with other people in the national park. I know of a few secret spots that are outside the national park, but they're quite difficult to get to. When you get to me, it's a right turn. Yeah, I'll call you when to come down. Heading off to our camping spot for the next few days. It was a bit scary driving down because there wasn't a lot of visibility as we went over the lip, and the hill was pretty steep, and this steep hill was going to cause problems when we left. Just as you come over the left, over the hill, it's a very slight left, and it's very steep. You can't see the track until your nose has dropped down. Just stay there and I'll get down to the bottom and I'll call you over.
Roger, we stopped.
Just come down one at a time. Are you in low gear?
Sure am. Down there to that windmill as well.
Yeah, that T intersection back, or that crossroads back there, we used to come up from the right hand part. This is the DME site at Wittenoom on top of the hill. A DME is the distance measuring equipment used to tell aircraft how far away they are from an airport. The old power lines to the DME from the mine are still there, though they don't work. At some time in the past, a fire has totally destroyed all the buildings and everything that was inside.
This is one of our time capsules for 2015. We're at DME Hill in Wittenoom. I think this is about number 6 or 7 that we've put out so far for our kids to find, or grandkids to find. No one's even bothered trying it. There's lots of money in here. It's probably worth a lot of dough in the future. So I challenge you to get here.
Degrees Celsius, clear skies, no wind. Awesome views of Karijini National Park. We have explored a few of the gorges and swam in Fern Pool. Amazing trip, amazing company. Here with Mark, Stephen and Julie. Off to Corona Downs now. Paul Thompson, date of birth 30th of May 1960. Wonder if I'm still alive.
That's how you do it.
Look what I found. A fucking camera. Hello. Want to see my cock?
Yeah, okay.
Hang it out, go on, hang it out.
Shouldn't have said that because it's going to go cock, 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 cock.
That part might go in without having to do it.
Leave it alone.
Too late.
One wheel off the ground. And again.
This is a view looking down into Wittenoom Gorge towards the Colonial Mine, and here is a shot of the mine taken in about the 1950s.
For Echo.
Immediately behind me you can see the top zigzag section of the catwalk that we used to drive up when we were working for the Department of Aviation, using this particular track to get up to DME Hill, which is sort of on my right hand side. Pretty hairy now. Didn't realise how hairy it was back then.
Heading back to our secret camp, we stop at the top of the hill and look at the old water tank that was installed in 1964.
Just try second gear then.
And this is where the steep track caused trouble. Paul couldn't get traction and we had to winch him up the hill.
Hold it there and we'll get the winch in.
car.
Okay, stop. You got back wheel as well undone. I don't know, I'm going to get through there that easy.
Driving that.
Complete red out now.
This is the lookout from Hammersley Gorge, and we take a walk up to Spa Pool.
I now know where all the Aboriginal pavers come from. What it's like, I think just a copy.
This looks like major surgery. Actually, it was. But it's just another one of Paul's continuous punctures. We're trying to find a shortcut between Bee Gorge and Wittenoom Gorge. There's a track on the map. Maybe we shouldn't have followed it. It looks like there is nothing here, but there is actually a track just going around a dead tree. However, this was not the worst. That was yet to come.
Might have been easy to clear that dead tree. We're in Bee Gorge, it's about day 8 or 9 of our trip, and we're trying to find a track that takes us into Wittenoom Gorge. I've seen it in Wittenoom Gorge, but I've never followed it before, so it's a good opportunity to have it again. The last time I was here was with Jeff Smith, and we rode the quad bikes up one of the catwalks at Bee Gorge. Back then we could only drive the car so far, and I'm pretty sure we've got to that point now. The track's almost non-existent. We've been driving through creek beds the last couple of k's, and it's taken us nearly an hour to do 3 or 4 k's. Anyway, we'll see how we go.
This is where the track started to get difficult, but it got worse further on. We got lured into a false sense of security because in front of the vehicle was a clear patch.
Go straight now. Okay, look, turn right.
I'll stop in front of it, I'll wait for you.
Keep going right. Go left now.
At this point we had walked ahead and found that the road was completely impassable with vehicle-sized boulders that we had no show of moving. So we had to turn around, which was difficult in its own right, and make our way back through the long, hard track to get back to Bee Gorge.
We can be annoyed.
Right down. Woo! You should be clear. We're still in Bee Gorge. It's 1 o'clock now. We've been driving for about close to 4 hours. We try to we find a track through Bee Gorge into Wittenoom Gorge, and it became so rock strewn that we decided that we would call it quits and turn around, which was a bit of an effort in itself. So we're heading back to the main road and going to Munchkin to refuel, and then out towards Corunna Down. So we'll see where we camp tonight. What do you think about driving into that gorge?
I thought it was pretty damn cool. We couldn't get through. It would have been good if we could have got through, but it's pretty hard.
Ooh, the 3 bungs are now no bungs. Well, even though we didn't get through, that was fun today. Except for Paul's time.
Well, that's the end of our Wittenoom adventure. Not the first time we've been there, and probably won't be the last. And we close off with our evening camp in the Pilbara.